Very good evening to all of you. And once again, I welcome you to one of another webinar brought to you by Apidem. We've been presenting these webinars to the digital marketing community for last 6 months and for last 2 months while you all are like locked down at home during this coronavirus. We've been actually presenting you more than just one webinar a month. We just covered a 3 days workshop or a short course on Internet of Things. And today we are here to introduce you or to launch our next short course on programmatic advertising. This is going to be a 2-episode webinar. Today, we are actually starting with the fundamentals of programmatic marketing. I'm going to introduce you the panel in a minute. And tomorrow, we are having the advanced programmatic marketing module. Now, I want all of you to actually stay tuned for the entire session today and not to forget join us tomorrow to complete this program. Now, let me introduce the resource panel for today. Actually, we have 2 people as our resource panel today. So our first guest for today's webinar, today's training session is Shivile Simkite, actually the head of Asia for Eskimi DSP. So she has been working in this market, in this region, in Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh for last couple of years, and she has been an evangelist of programmatic advertising in this region. So Shivile, I warmly welcome you to join our audience and greet our audience.
Hello everyone, I'm very happy to join this session. I hope it will be informative for you enough to dig into programmatic world and get more knowledge in that.
All right, thank you. And thanks for joining Shivile. So let me introduce our next speaker today. Our next speaker for the day is Melinda. Melinda is actually a well-known digital marketing professional in Sri Lanka for many years, heading the digital operation, e-sales operation for one of the leading telco companies in the country. And he recently found his own venture, Digital Yoda. At the same time, he is the business development manager, the representative for Eskimi DSP in Sri Lanka. So I warmly welcome Melinda on screen. Please greet the audience and we can,
Hi everyone, glad to be here and thanks a lot Amita for the opportunity as well.
All right, so Shivile, you can come on screen because we are now going to start in a very short period. Now, before we get started, before actually I hand it over to Melinda and Shivile, let me ask you a question. I'm actually going to fire a poll on your screen. You are going to vote on this poll. The question that I'm going to ask is, how many Apidem webinars have you attended prior to this one? Right? So I'm going to launch the poll. You are going to vote really quick and you can actually vote now. Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you like 5 more seconds and then I'm going to end the polling. Right, we have closer to about 82, 83, 84, 85 votes out of all the participants. Okay, it's going. So let me give you another like 5 seconds and then I'm going to close the poll. Right, I'm going to end the poll now and I'm going to share the result with you. So it seems that we have a brand new audience here. We have 60 or rather 69% of the audience joining for the very first time for our programmatic advertising webinar series. We've been conducting so much of webinars in the past, and we have quite a few people, like 14% attended one webinar before, 8% attended 2 webinars before, and we have like 3% attended 5 or more webinars with Apidum before. Okay, great to have you here. So without any further ado, I'm going to actually hand it over to our resource panel today. But one more message. At the end of this program, which is actually 2 episodes program today and tomorrow, you'll be get a certificate from Apidum and from Eskimi for your completion of this program. So with that news, I invite you to join tomorrow as well. Don't drop it after joining today. Definitely join with us tomorrow as well. So with that note at the outset itself, and stay with us till the end. And you can put forward any questions which you come across while attending the webinar. You can always communicate that through the Q&A session, and we'll be taking the Q&A towards the latter part of today's webinar. All right. So who's going to start, Milinda or Shivile?
Shivile, will you pull up the slides?
Yes, give me a second. We'll share. Please confirm if everybody sees screen. And if everybody sees the slides going.
Yes.
Going. Perfect.
Awesome.
So, Eskimi, Milinda, please.
Yeah, okay. So again, thanks a lot for the opportunity, and let's kick off this session. So programmatic, what it is. So first of all, we're all here because we're part of an organization called Eskimi. I'm sure most of you might have heard of it. So Eskimi is a full stack programmatic platform with global reach and local data, and most importantly, engaging creatives. So some of you might have also seen some of our creatives when you're browsing the most popular sites in Sri Lanka. So to give you a quick rundown of Eskimi, Eskimi starts its journey in 2009 in markets in Africa as a social media platform. So it kind of mirrors a little bit like how Facebook started off. Starting off as a social media platform in 2009, and then in 2013 it moves on into a payment platform and an aggregator as well, and then finally in 2015 Eskimi launches as a DSP. So let's take a look at what all these terms are, from DSP to DMP and all that. But basically we launched our programmatic offering in 2015, and since then we are now in over 130 markets. So Jivile just gave me the update that now we've launched all in 130 markets. So as you can see, the little pins are covering from all the way from Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, likewise. So programmatic is basically, sometimes a lot of people get a little bit scared when you hear the word programmatic, right? It feels like this is something new. This is like rocket science. What does this mean? So the whole idea of this session is to try and take you through the elements of programmatic, try and kind of help you understand what programmatic is, and kind of tell you that, you know, you don't have to be scared. Programmatic is nothing new. It's something very simple that you can understand, just that there are a lot of jargon and lingo around the whole domain of programmatic. So us digital marketeers love to throw a lot of stuff. Even Amita can agree that, you know, we like to say CPC, CPM, CTR, and like, you know, lots of stuff like that. So, so likewise, you'll hear a lot of jargon. So to start off, right, on programmatic, I'll start with the basics, right? You start off with your advertiser, right? So for those who have a little bit more experience, because we are a varying audience, I'm trying to start from almost zero level and take you all the way to the advanced version. So some of you might be thinking, oh my God, is he going to like be so basic, but please bear in mind, because we have a variety of participants. So starting off, the advertiser, right? So here in programmatic, the advertiser is basically the person who is going to pay money to display his ad, right? And then when we say publisher, that means the owner of the website, right? Who will obviously get the money for showing the ads of the advertiser. Then you have what is called an ad slot, right? So ad slot basically is the space on a website allocated by the publisher for an ad to appear or load, right? So for example, when you go to any popular site, you will notice there are multiple ads on any given site. So all those are multiple ad slots. So you can call them placements. Then you have ad inventory, right? So ad inventory is basically the number of ad slots, right? A publisher has available to sell an advertiser. Sorry, there's a tiny typo there, right? It should be available to sell to an advertiser. So when we're talking about ad inventory, basically it's all the ad slots available in a site for sale, right? And when you're talking about an ad network, right? An ad network is basically an aggregator who gathers inventory on multiple publisher websites, right? So an aggregator will be going to all these website owners and basically asking, okay, how many ad slots do you have in your site? And can I inventorize them so that then I will handle the sale for you rather than you having to sell directly, right? And then lastly, we have ad exchange, right? So ad exchange is nothing more than an online marketplace, right? Where the buying and selling happens, right? So the advertisers and the publishers are given a chance to buy and sell this particular inventory, right? So why I wanted to highlight these terms or terminology right up front is because in the next slides, we'll be talking about publisher and ad slot and ad exchanges and ad networks and all that. So I don't want you guys to get confused. Okay, so let's look at first the traditional media buying, right? I'm sure most of you have experience or some form of experience. What do we mean by traditional media buying, right? So that's when basically, if you're an agency or if you're a client and you want to launch a campaign and you decide, okay, this is my campaign. I want to target maybe males, age 18 to 25, and living in Colombo, Kandy, Galle, maybe, right? Or maybe island-wide. And then how do I get my message across? Let me look at some of the popular websites in Sri Lanka and then pick up the phone or drop them an email and say, hey, I need to advertise my product. Can I have a slot, right? So what's going to happen? The sales team of that particular website is then going to say, okay, we have these slots. Then you'll be asking them, okay, what is your viewership like? How many views do you get? So it's constant back and forth. And then you will have to try and kind of compromise and say, okay, for 1 month, what is the best rate you can give? And this probably sometimes could take even a week or so, depending on the relationship you have, right? So sometimes if you have better relationships, the negotiation process might happen much faster, right? So, but in short, traditional media buying is of this nature, right? So we also call it direct media buying because you as the advertiser would be directly contacting the publisher, right? And what happens is post the campaign 1 month later or 2 weeks later, depending on the period, you'll probably ask what are the results? Can I see the results? And then your advertiser will probably either give you a manual report or take a screenshot of their Google Analytics, and then you'll have to kind of go through that and figure out, did I get the impressions that I wanted? Did I get the reach I wanted? Are you happy with the result that you got, right? So is there any optimization happen? So you will have to probably figure that out on your own, right? But when you're looking at programmatic, programmatic is a far more simpler model. Why? Because you don't have so many interactions between different publishers. Programmatic media buying is just basically digital advertising space, is buying digital advertising space automatically, right? With the help of computers using data to decide which ads to buy and how much we pay for them, right? So in short, it's media buying via technology rather than a manual process, right? See, if you're just going to place your ad on one particular website, that's fine. Maybe you can go through the hassle of it. But for example, if you want your ad to appear on the top 10 websites in the country, or maybe top 20 websites in the country, right? Can you imagine the process of going through that 20 times and then calling them up for reports, for if you want to change your creative, right? Likewise. So it's a massive hassle. So programmatic is the future of ad buying. So I touched a little bit on the differences between direct versus programmatic, but just to take you through the key elements, how would you buy ad placements? So on direct, it's a direct negotiation. There's manual share and you have to implement it manually, right? Whereas on programmatic, ads are bought and served via a demand side platform, right? Also called DSP, and it's fully automated, right? So you don't have to lift the phone up and call any publishers or try to figure out whether ad is delivering. Everything is automated, and there is a dashboard that you can see the results taking place, right? So Jivile will take you through the dashboard later on, but for now, that is how the buying happens, right? Then how does the payment work, right? So normally what would happen is on direct, you would negotiate, right? He would say 250, you would say 200, and then what will happen? You will try to meet in the middle, right? Whereas in programmatic, it's actually an auction, right? So I'm sure most of you guys know how auctions work. So there'll be multiple advertisers trying to bid for a particular user's attention. So based on that, whoops, it is, yeah. Okay. Sorry. So based on that, there would be a dynamic price that would be charged based on the real-time user information, that particular user who's logging into the website, right? Reporting on direct is very manual, right? If your publisher takes 1 week to get back to you with a report, that means you can't report to the client. You have to wait 1 week for it, right? Whereas on programmatic, it's all in real time and there's dashboards. So for example, when your client calls you up and asks, how's my campaign doing? All you need to do is log into the dashboard and you have all the information to answer your client's questions. Or if you're the client, you can directly log in and see the results, right? How does optimization work? So on direct, there is almost no optimization, or if at all, optimization would happen very manual, depending on how flexible your publishers are. Whereas on programmatic, optimizations happen in real time using the power of AI and machine learning, right? So there are powerful AI engines looking at who are the people who are the people clicking on the ads, who are the people interacting with the ads, and based on that, you will get a much better audience because the ad serving platform will look for similar audiences and push your ad out, right? And as a result, normally you would get more impressions or more clicks than what you bargained for, right? So coming to effectiveness, so how does effectiveness work on direct? It requires a lot of touch points, right? Lots of paperwork and lots of back and forth. So for example, if you're advertising on only one site, it might be the most popular site in the country, right? But the challenge is then you're going to be visible only on that site, right? Let's say your users then go to another site, they don't see your ad, right? So you lose visibility. So programmatic is a much more effective and reliable model, because once we identify the exact audience you want to target, regardless of whether they're on a website, whether they're on a mobile app, we will be able to show your ad and you will be visible. Right. So there are lots of platforms who claim to be programmatic, right? So to be programmatic, there are 5 key features that a programmatic platform will have to have, right? So remember, this is again where the lingo comes in, right? So a multitude of 3-letter acronyms, right? So you have DSP, RTB, SSP, DMP, and DCO, right? So it sounds very very alien, but the actual principle of it is very simple. Let's just go one by one, right? So DSP is basically your demand side platform, right? So the DSP basically facilitates the real-time bidding on multiple RTB exchanges. Remember, we talked about ad exchanges. So the DSP is the one that's going to basically look at what is the demand, right? And then facilitate all those purchasers with multiple brokers for ad inventory across thousands of publishers, right? So this enables marketers to reach their target audience through demographic, behavioral, contextual targeting, and optimize based on the best performing media strategies. So what I didn't touch on in terms of differences between direct or traditional media buying versus the programmatic option is when you're placing your ad on a publisher, right? Let's say you want to, let's say your product is a male dominated product, maybe a shaving product, probably what I'll need after the lockdown is over, right? So when you place an ad on, let's say, Daily Mirror or any popular Sri Lankan news site, yes, your ad will get a wide reach amongst males, but also a female population is also going to be seeing that ad, right? Let's say you're trying to market an infant milk powder product, right? You can publish it on a direct site, but apart from maybe parents, you will also see kids visiting that website, teenagers visiting that website, people who have no interest in that product, right? Maybe you're a telco, right? And you want to introduce maybe an unlimited data package, something that everybody's wanting during this lockdown, right? So let's say you're introducing the package, right? But remember who's visiting that website. It's not only customers of that telco, but also the competitor customers also will be visiting that website. So you're losing out an opportunity, right? So that's where a DSP comes in hand, where you can set the actual target audience that you want, right? So Jivile will take you through the multiple targeting options that we have. But in summary, that's what a DSP would do. You would set, hey, I want males to males between 18 to 25, maybe living in Colombo, who have an interest in cricket, maybe from a particular telco. Likewise, you have multiple ways of targeting your audience. So that's DSP. Then we go to the SSP, right? Supply side platform, right? So SSP is the underlying technology that makes RTB exchanges possible, right? So inventory from thousands of online publications are made available via the SSP. So the SSP is basically going to collect all these publishers and make it available to your DSP, right? So DSP is where an advertiser would log in, right? And your SSP is where your publishers would log in and make the inventory available, right? So by automating and optimizing the scale of impressions, an auction environment is created to allow the impressions to be sold, obviously the highest bidder, right? So you have DSP on one side and you have your SSP on one side with your buyers and sellers, right? So your typical auction environment, right? And then how does this auction happen? Using what is called RTB, right? Real-time bidding. So real-time bidding is basically an automated process which is scaled for buying and selling display ad impressions, right? So where marketeers would bid on an impression based on their interest in the web visitor, right? So rather than you saying, hey, I want to place an ad on, let's say, Daily Mirror or Lanka Deepa or any particular news site, right? Here you would be saying, I want to attract a target audience or visitor who matches these characteristics, right? And based on how many other advertisers are looking for that same particular visitor, there will be an auction happening the moment a visitor who fits that criteria logs into one of those publisher websites. Because the moment they log into a publisher website, the publisher website will have that particular code, which will then trigger your SSP via the RTB platform saying, hey, I have a person who fits your criteria who wants to bid for it, right? And based on the highest bid, the person with the highest bid would basically get that impression, right? And this happens multiple times, right? If a website has 5 different ad slots, this will happen 5 times while your website is loading, right? So it's not something that takes half an hour or like 2 weeks. This happens in milliseconds, right? So so then you have DMP, right? So remember I talked about, yes, you want to target males, you want to target 18 to 25 age group, you want to target, for example, which telco they're on, what kind of device they are using, maybe even try to figure out whether they are from an affluent background, or maybe they're from a low income background or middle class background, right? So likewise, as marketeers, we, especially in the digital domain, we all look to personalize our communication, right? There's no point of using the same message right across multiple segments, right? So either we would want to identify one segment out of the total universe and market to them, or we would pick multiple messages to be targeted at multiple segments, right? So how does this happen, right? How can we identify what age group you are, what location you're from, right? What kind of interests do you have? Do you like cooking? Do you like, for example, cricket? Likewise. So all this happens on a DMP, right? So your DMP basically is like a central database that starts collecting information based on the websites that you visit, right? Again, there's a completely different section on DMP, which Jivile would take you through in terms of what the Eskimi DMP collects and how powerful it is. But basically, it will be taking information from offline and online sources, from first-party sources, For example, if you have your own website, you can connect it to our DMP, and then you can directly target users who are visiting your website and then going on to other websites. If you have an app and you want to target people who have your app, maybe they've downloaded the app but not registered, or maybe registered and not made a purchase, right? Likewise, you can all do that based with a DMP. So the DMP is where we'll have little markers saying, okay, this person is of age between this bracket, maybe is a male, lives in Colombo, uses an iPhone, has been seen at maybe one golf face or at a cricket stadium. Likewise, all these little markers are there based on your cookie ID. So in the DMP platform, unfortunately, because some of you guys might be wondering what kinds of data is there on a DMP. So your name, your email address, personal information like that is not stored on a DMP. So so on the DMP, even Amita would be a cookie ID to us. It might be 69AB7650. Jivile also will be just another number like that. So none of your personal information, things like your name, email address, NICs, credit cards, any of those information don't get stored. It's only your browsing data and whatever we gather about you. So we can't use that data to directly identify you as Amita or as Jivile, right? Then we come to the interesting part, right? So it's not just your typical creatives, but a programmatic platform will have the ability to do dynamic creative optimization, right? So we've heard of static banners and animated banners, and you've probably seen your fair share of banners popping up the moment websites load. And sometimes you go to a website and all you can see is just banners and not the actual information that you went to the website also, right? So dynamic creative optimization is basically a technology that creates personalized ads based on data that we have about you at the time of ad serving, right? So for example, if you've seen some ads with live cricket scores, right? That's launched through dynamic creative optimization, right? So we have direct API integrations where you can have maybe live cricket scores. If, for example, someone gets out, or if somebody hits a six, or somebody scores a century, right? Likewise, you can run interesting creative ideas using DCO, right? Also, for example, you can connect even things like weather APIs and change the ad weather. If it's hot, you can run one particular ad. If it's rainy, you can run another particular ad, depending on the time, depending on the user's preference, right? Depending on whether he has clicked on one particular variation of an ad, you can then opt to show him another variation, right? So you have multiple avenues that you can optimize your creative. So these are some of the things that your traditional media buying won't give you, right? So we have a whole heap of rich media ads that Jivile would take you through. So those are the elements of basically a programmatic platform, right? So anyone claiming to have a programmatic platform ideally has to have all those features, right? So let's look at how it finally works. Now we've looked at the different elements, right? So on one corner, remember we have the advertiser, right? So the advertiser would use what is called an agency or maybe a trading desk platform to log in his requirement. He will say, I have to target this kind of audience for maybe 1 month. This is the kind of budget that I have, and log in his requirement, right? So then you have your DSP, which will capture that requirement. And then start to pull in the data from your DMP, right? And after that, the DSP will then start to communicate with your ad exchanges, right? So we have a multitude of ad exchanges, not just one ad exchange. That would enable us better optimization, and from a client's point of view, the more ad exchanges you have, the better rate you can get, right? So if you're going from left to right, you have your advertiser going all the way up to your DSP and starting to communicate with ad exchanges, right? Then on the right hand corner, you have your audience, right? So this is basically your target audience, right? So now they're bored at home, they want to come online. So either through, it might be an app, maybe they're playing for example, I don't know, Candy Crush or Scrabble or whatever app they're on, or they might be wanting news on the current situation, right? So they'll log into a website. So a website is basically your publisher, right? So the publisher connects to the SSP as we talked about. So the SSP will then start communicating to the ad exchange saying, hey, I have this particular guy logging into my website, right? And then the DSP will realize, okay, this guy matches my criteria. And it's not just one DSP. There'll be multiple DSPs and multiple advertisers trying to capture the attention of that particular person who's logging into the website. So then the ad exchange will run the auction and look at what's the highest bid. And based on the highest bid, that impression will be awarded, right? And each time you refresh a page on a website, this happens again, right? So it's not that it happens only once when you visit the website and you're going to see the ad all the time. Every time somebody refreshes the page, it's going to happen. And if you have 5 ad slots, this exchange would happen 5 times, right? So Eskimi basically operates in that little rounded rectangle, as you can see, from DSP, DMP, all the way up to that SSP area. So that is what Eskimi enables you. Okay, right? So taking you through all the digital advertising channels, right? So you have a multitude of channels from search engine marketing, SEO, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, online display ads, affiliate marketing, reviews, all of that, right? So it's not an easy task to run your advertising on multiple channels. So Eskimi has an option where it's not just display ads, but we have a single dashboard which you can run your Facebook ads, your Google ads, LinkedIn ads, all through our platform. So I don't think I need to take you through the funnel, because I'm sure most of you guys are aware of how the funnel process happens, from awareness right at the top to engagement, education, research about the product, evaluation, justification, and finally the purchase. The purchase happens, and an advertiser's role is not, it doesn't end there. Probably maybe 20 years ago, you can wash your hands and then say, my job is done. But now in this digital age, it's not just about the purchase. You have to look at adoption rates. You have to look at customer retention. How do you expand that audience? It's not just one purchase. How do you get them to purchase more of that same product? Or how do you cross-sell, upsell? How do you then get them to advocate for your product? So so the funnel doesn't stop. So Eskimi is there right along to support you right through the entire funnel.
And I would add, if I might join, that we're not saying that programmatic is the golden key for all of your key problems of advertising. please always consider to choose programmatic as part of the whole digital strategy, depending which part of the funnel you are at, what is the decision-making process of the, like buying the goods, the services. So choose all the channels, make a strategy of all of them, not just the Facebook, not just the programmatic, and so on. So with this message, we can explain how use programmatic in the best way, but always think a little bit wider, because only when you run all the campaigns across all digital channels strategically, then your campaigns will be successful. Then your performance campaigns will be successful, purchases and all of that. So don't forget all the channels, and don't focus only on one. Always, check what other the opportunities there is in the market. And today we are covering the online advertisement, the display videos as well, which could be done programmatically. Okay, so shall I continue?
Yeah, so there are a few questions, Jivile. I will start answering them on the Q&A session, and yeah, over to you.
Okay. Okay, so shortly, you know now the basics of the Eskimi, of the programmatic, the main keywords and so on. So we'll start explaining more from the Eskimi perspective, and how do we see all the parts which is essential for digital campaigns. Just shortly explaining what Eskimi has, you already have seen, but to be more detailed, it is a full stack DSP platform. It's not only the DSP, it also has the DMP, so the data pillar, and also we have ad server built in for all the creative needs, which could be launched for one platform. No need to onboard any additional platform in order just to start using Eskimi as one-stop solution for all kind of campaigns. Okay, so we have lots of the features in there. Let me go through that. So this is just a summary of what to be expected. Okay, so DSP, we already know what does it mean and so on. So I can share with you what that is important to have lots of the ad exchanges and SSPs connected, because in that way, the optimization, the reach, the information about your audience, then it could be maximized. So as for example, on Eskimi, we have DoubleClick, Smart, Mopub, Rubicon, and lots of the other exchanges and SSPs connected. So if anybody is having a question, so what's the difference between Google Ads, like DoubleClick, GDN, and Eskimi, I should say that it's in it. It's in Eskimi platform already, all the inventory being connected. We are global partners with Google, so therefore we have their inventory as well as. And on top of that, lots of the other exchanges which has lots of the different inventory. For example, if there some of the apps which can deliver good like CTR rates and then other KPIs for your campaigns, maybe DoubleClick doesn't have those inventories connected. For that purpose, maybe Mopub, which is purely app exchange, so they have lots of good inventory, and depending on their need, on the campaign requirements, the system automatically chooses based on your audience profile. Of course, you can always target just some of the inventory, some of the exchanges that you want to use, but the programmatic, it's all about the audience, what your audience is using, and then let the system, let the machine learning and artificial intelligent algorithm do their work, optimize the cost, figure out how to reach your audience at the lowest cost, at the right time, and in the right place. I think you know that description quite well. Okay, so one of the unique part of Eskimi is that we have not only those exchanges and SSPs connected, which gives you the largest possible reach, and I'm sure that especially in Sri Lanka, we are the only ones who can give you such reach, I'm pretty much sure. And well, the platform as it is literally to be compared with giants like DV360, Trading Desk, and those international well-known brands. Well, those premium features, which is very useful to have in one platform, is those API integrations, which is with Facebook, YouTube, and AdWords. So this means that all of those campaigns could be launched and controlled through one platform. You don't need to run through the platforms anymore. So it's all of that going toward making a one-stop solution for all the most of the most used digital channels. So we have also an SSP for direct integration with the publishers. So you already seen in the previous slides that we connect with other SSPs, but also we have our own. So let me explain you what is the benefit of that. Because when we integrate directly with the local publisher, for example, we can have their monetization through our platform. And we also have developed very unique and innovative creatives for that part of the connection. So let's leave it for the further communication. Let us know if this part is interested to you, because it's more like a customized option. But of course, it is available to do SSP integrations with the local publishers directly as well. Something like you had direct buying before, but it could be now be monetized directly from via Eskimi as a platform. Okay, so as we now today covering the basic part of the programmatic, what is it, and so on. So let me repeat some of the Millis information and talk about the price optimization, how it happens on the programmatic platforms. Okay, so why it is important to have so much exchanges and the inventory, because different inventory has different pricing. So the system, if you are do not limiting too much your inventory capability opportunities, then the system is automatically, depending on the audience profile that you are targeting, it chooses the best one, the cheapest literally place where your audience are, like what app they're using now, what site they're using now, and so on. So in that way, the programmatic platforms are capable to analyze the best performing placements, the best performing inventory, also which of the creative works best, and choose according to that automatically, and do that, you know, in a milliseconds. It's not been done manually, it's manually by human work. It's been done in milliseconds by the system. So it allows for the system to learn day by day and reduce the cost in a very nice and very optimal way. Because, you know, artificial intelligence now are capable to do a lot of the work, which was, well, probably was done by people, hands work a long time ago. Now it could be done in seconds and minutes and so on. Okay, so let's go further to the DMP part. At DSP, we're already clear. So we have lots of the publishers, sites and apps, which gives us an option to show the ads. At the same time, they are providing lots of the information about their customers, the visitors who comes to see their content. And so all that information comes to our DMP. And of course, there are lots of the DMPs in the market, but the main importance here that Eskimi have its own DMP. So you don't have to pay extra, you don't have to onboard any third-party data. You just literally can start using right away, okay? Okay, so Mil already have taken through the basics of what kind of data sources usually is being used. So of course, all the publisher information, website, mobile data is coming like from bid request, all of that is coming to the DMP, all that raw data. Then we have the capability to, by placing the pixel on the websites, do the remarketing campaigns and identify specific users who comes to specific, for example, page, to see one product, but maybe he's not interested in another product. So you can then start collecting your own very niche, very unique audiences there and do all the remarketing campaigns across all the channels. Of course, all the banners, learning tags, also collecting information, which is also can be used in next campaigns for planning and so on. Well, there is a third-party data can be onboarded on the platform, but as I mentioned, there's sufficient data amount already in the platform from those primary sources which you already see. And just to be clear, Eskimi is fully compliant with the GDPR requirements. So this means that no personal information is being collected. So this database do not have any emails, do not have any phone numbers, and so on. Everything is based and described with the DMP IDs, which literally makes all users anonymous. And you know, in that way, there's no security breach. This is not like Cambridge Analytica case and so on. Okay, so everything is safe, anonymous, but at the same time, lots of the opportunities to identify your niche audiences or reach the largest possible audience for your campaigns when you need that, depending on the needs. And from that raw data, which we collect on the DMP, we analyze the data, analyze combinations of the data through the time and so on, and we create unique targetings, unique data sets, like identify if the user is a frequent traveler, for example, if he consumes a lot of the data, like mobile data, or one of the unique and very advanced one is social economical class targeting, which is actually describing this targeting algorithm contains lots of the data points per each social economical class describing different criteria. And in other words, digitally identifies purchase power. So we don't need to get like a salary level, which is pretty much private information, but from digital parameters, we can identify the social class, and in other words, the purchase power, the income level. So in that way, all your campaigns, like when you want to target premium class audiences for some premium services, all of that is available. So like social economical class targeting is unique algorithm which was developed uniquely by Eskimi team. And this is not the end. This is just part of the audiences and audience buckets that we are creating, and it's never stops. It's like everyday learning process, and our clients helps us to know what are the needs in the market. So of course, always you're welcome to share some ideas, some questions. Can we do that? Can we do that? And this helps us both sides to grow and develop the platform to be more innovative. Okay, so just to share a little bit of the Eskimi scale in a PAC region. Now, most of our audience is from Sri Lanka in today's webinar, but if you are having in mind running campaigns internationally, not only in Sri Lanka, maybe in India, on any other market, here you can see our DMP profiled users. So anywhere in the countries you are running some international campaign, yes, we have capability to do that. And we have not only the DSP part enabled for all of those markets, but also DMP collection already started for a long time before. Okay, so I have mentioned the profiling users, okay? And in that point, I want to share a slightly different perspective, how we see the audiences. We try to build the data segments and build unique audience profiles. Well, if I may say, targeting just by gender, age, and location, it would be more like an old school type of the targeting, because now we have lots more of the, more data sources and data which could give us better understanding and identifying unique audiences and building unique data stories about them. So be creative, always think a little bit wider, because like, okay, so we have a website, maybe some females are going, but if they are not interested in your product, so what's the point of targeting them, even though they might be females and so on. So therefore always consider slightly more and profile your users in a more wider, more behavior-based criteria. Okay, so talking about the targeting options. So as I mentioned, we are the full stack programmatic platform. So of course we have those basic targeting features, which is those demographics, which we were talking and mostly focusing in all of our campaigns, like age, gender, location, and so on. Of course, all the targeting regarding the placement is available. Like if you want to run your ads only on particular sites and apps in the particular positions and so on, all of that is available. But please always consider using programmatic in a smart way, not only just focusing on the placements. Think about the audience first, and then your audience will give you better understanding what kind of inventory do they use. Instead of like the mentality of direct buying is when you think only about the placements, because then you believe that you make assumptions that your audience will be there. So in programmatic is opposite. Think about your audience first and then leave to the system to decide which of the, based on what the users are using, which of the placements you should reach them through. And in that way, all the optimization is available, cost reduction and effectiveness of the campaign. Okay, so in other platforms, you already might be using those standard targeting behavior-based features like interest-based and so on. We have slightly more features that we have on our platform as well. As I already have mentioned, social economical class, this is a unique one. None of the other platforms actually has that. We have geofence, which is slightly different from the other platforms as well. I will explain you more detail. We have also app site retargeting options. I'll explain that as well. And lots of the tech-based targeting features from the operator, device, and lots of the other things there. Okay, let's go deeper. Okay, so interest targeting. So I think that most of you are already quite aware of those verticals that you can choose in your campaigns. If you run AdWords, YouTube, Facebook campaigns, all of that is already available. So of course we have that built in the Eskimi platform as well. And well, I will show you the live demo today, and you'll see that when you go directly on the platform, you can just log in, select whatever the audience you are interested in, and get your estimated reach right away. No need to wait or do some calculations on that. It's already built in there, so ready to use right away, as I have mentioned. So depending on what is your audience profile, are they interested in maybe traveling? You can target by that, like interested in visiting some particular countries, e-commerce. You can create those audience buckets yourself for any kind of the verticals. Okay, so the example with the geofence. So we have the two of the options, targeting in real time and targeting after the users was seen in particular locations. So the difference from other platforms is that we can geofence or just mark the area based on the coordinates, so longitude, latitude. So this means that you can be very precisely target even up to building level, or just target like Sydney, Australian airport. If you desire, draw a polygon and select multiple of the locations depending on what you need. So why it is important to have this targeting in mind? Because location gives not only that time minute information, but it also can give you additional information about the user behavior, which could not be identified otherwise. Let's take, for example, the airport. So if we see that the user has been seen in the airport continuously, a couple of the times in the last like 6 months or something. So probably because he's there, so he might be a frequent traveler. Or like if we geofence the gas stations and everybody who comes to the gas station quite frequently, so probably they have a car. And you know, digitally you cannot know, do people have some car or two vehicle? You can't know that from online sources. But by location targeting, you can have those assumptions made, which gives you a quite precise information about them. Okay? So hyperlocal targeting is when you want to target in real time. So when users are in that particular location during selected period, and the geofence we call when we select the locations and start collecting the users for certain amount of the time, but do the campaign for them after they leave. So for example, if, well, we target like a shopping mall, of course, when the COVID will end, and we'll come back to the shopping malls, not now, but after, if we geofence the shopping malls and then do a campaign for those collected users for that audience, so we can give them propositions like come back to the shopping mall, we have unique proposition for you or something like that. Sports stadium, come back, there's a I don't know, ticket subscription for you or something like that. So this information is also giving you an opportunity to adapt your content of the banners of your videos and make it more personalized. Well, in other words, I like to say that programmatic is helping you, all the data, all those profiling and so on, it helps to make the advertisement more personalized. And to be honest, well, technically we can target at the very niche audiences. So of course, always consider the efficiency of the campaign, but it can allow to target a very small niche audiences. Okay, so with this geofence method, or targeting in other words, we have developed some unique targeting features, which is now highly being used in order to track the footfall. So if the brand wants to drive the users to like a local store, or the banks want to drive their customers to visit the bank, to activate the card or something like that, they can use this targeting method, and at the same time we can transform this method into tracking the footfall, tracking the online to offline attribution, in other words. We had a very nice example which we have done in Indonesia recently, like geofencing all the fast food restaurants and showing the ads for all of those audiences, and then measuring how many of those from the ones who from those audiences who saw the ads physically have came to particular like shop afterwards, and so on. Like it was for Burger King, so everybody was tracking how many of users have physically came after seeing the ads to the physical Burger King restaurants. We had also very nice case with the Fabelia furniture manufacturer campaign there as well. So contact us. We are more than happy to share case studies of footfall tracking and implementation. Okay, so with that same technology, we can be more flexible and more creative, and even for outdoor audience targeting, we can also select particular audience and combine with the outdoor advertising. So in other words, if we have a billboard on the street and we want to make it like reach those users who sees the billboard and reach them on digital channels as well. So we have capability of doing that. Of course, in like we can't measure directly have have their eyes were on the billboard and have they really read what was written there. So we're not talking about that part, but everybody who was around like billboard, we can do the retargeting across channels after it with the same branding campaign, for example. Okay, so combine online and outdoor advertisement in a smart way.
Shivile, may I just interrupt you there, because there is a relevant question for that.
Yeah.
You mentioned about like how you can actually use footfall the billboard to do like programmatic advertising, and then there is a relevant question where I think Feroz is asking, can we use programmatic advertising for digital out of home advertising? We are using our programmatic data to deliver the ad on some of these digital out of home advertising, maybe like digital billboards or digital screens in public places. Is there
okay, understood.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those billboards usually is not connected to any of the exchange and SSP, so that's the problem. If they are being controlled by some system, and we could have a direct integration with those providers who build those billboards and who's serving the ads there, of course we could do that. So, you know, there's a technically there could be a chance, but practically none of the billboards actually currently are available to do that. I don't know that any of the Sri Lankan outdoor advertisement would have those technical capabilities. From our side, we could be.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, you can
please jump in if any of the relevant question appears.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move further with the targeting, as I said, methods, because those methods are just the way how we could be identifying audiences, but always be creative. Always, I recommend to contact our team for better, in order to build those unique buckets of your audiences and so on, for best practice, especially for when you start using the platform. Contact our team, our ad ops team, our account managers, or Millie directly for all the Sri Lanka queries, or me for all the Asian queries if you have such. And we're gonna help you and we'll propose which one of them mostly would be mostly suitable for your particular audience profile, because in each profile there's like very creative ways how we could use those targeting methods. Okay, so one of the additional is as we call intent-based users, because we through those exchanges, when we have lots of the publishers connected, we also can track what is coming to those websites, and we can identify specific websites which, for example, could be relevant at some point for us. Let's assume we are like a device manufacturer, and we are planning our new device launch, and of course we would be interested to show maybe there's a pre-launch campaign with a unique like a limited version or something like that, and we want to identify users who's now searching for a new device, who's browsing on website, who's checking some blogs with some specification, reviews, or anything like that. So we can select those dedicated websites and apps which could be relevant to that particular audience, like where like OLX is one of the most used website in India. So like if we choose the OLX page, the category which is showing the mobile devices, so all the users who comes to that particular category page will be seen as, yes, they are interested now, because we select the duration when we want to see the users. So this means that we really can identify those people who's now in that particular duration searching for like new device, new car, or anything like that. So in other words, intent-based audience, they intend to buy some goods. I will show you lively on the platform how it works and how to set up. So I have been talking about the targeting and all of those things, but I continuously receive some of the questions about the transparency. Lots of the rumors in the market, how to trust different platforms and how to believe the numbers are real and so on. So I just want to make sure, to make you sure that from our point, we're very strict on transparency. Of course, you can see all the metrics, all the KPIs, all the inventory, all the data directly on the platform, which is real time. All the campaign optimization, everything is happening directly there in the real time. Okay, so you can get your own access, start using the platform right away with the self-service. Of course, you can use our AdOps team member with the managed service option as well. Okay, so data. It's all about the data, using the data for your campaigns, at the same time planning your next campaigns based also on the data, not just on assumptions, which we used to do some time ago, okay? And Eskimi, as we own the data, the DMP platform, so we have the opportunities to develop something new, like those footfall tracking, which was actually developed quite recently based on one of the clients' requests. And there's lots of the opportunities for that. So data insights, in-depth analytics, all of that is available in order to get more insights on the audiences. And this is not limiting only to the audience, but also tracking the performance. Like in this screenshot, you see some examples from the telecommunication campaigns when they track their migrations and the real price of the migration from one network to another one, and how much did it cost to have a user migrating from one network to another. And there's lots of the case studies and the opportunities in this way, how we can deliver even unique data insights for your brands as well. Amita, do you have any more questions?
No, not relevant ones at this moment. Yeah.
Givile, there's just one question, not one question, I think there are few had asked in terms of how a little bit more detail on how we collect the data, or how the DMP picks up the data. And follow-up question was if we can explain a little bit on how we classify socio-economic class targeting.
Okay, so how we collect the data. So first of all, you remember that slide of how all the programmatic network works. Let me go back to this. Okay, so when we have publishers, they have lots of the inventory and like the content that the users is seeing. So all, when the inventory is being connected to exchanges and SSPs, and that a real-time bidding auction is happening, the information about the user, so like what kind of operator, maybe he's like bid request information, in other words. So there could be multiple of data points delivered through the bid request in those milliseconds, as Millie have already explained to you before. So all of that information, as we are participants of those auctions as a DSP, so we are receiving this data from the exchanges, and then at the same time we are collecting in our DMP. It's not only participating, not only buying that particular ad placement, but also seeing all that what is happening in the market. In other words, like listening all the digital traffic and listening whatever is happening online in digital in the programmatic ecosystem, and storing that data in our DMP. So cookie information, information from SDK files in apps, all of that, when it's being passed via open auction. Then we store that, as I mentioned, we develop targeting methods. So one of them is that social economical class. And actually each segment of the class, like you already know that there's like A, A1, B, and something like that. So each of the level of the class is being described by multiple of the data points. The major ones is like device price, connectivity, location, interest, which each of the level of each class has different like amount and different data points describing each. In other words, if you have like if your government tax office has their own description how they define the social economical class, it's pretty much similar, but built with data points, which is received digitally, and then it's like equal identification, but on the digital channels. So in the, from the numbers perspective, we actually checked with the local officers, and are our numbers which we're seeing in the market, are they real and similar? And there are. So I'm pretty much sure we are quite similar with all those sources that you may get from not online. I hope that answered your question. Should we continue?
Yes, yes, Shuli, what we'll do is we'll continue, and maybe like towards the latter part, we'll take about like 10 minutes for all the questions.
Okay, so should we leave the questions later, or should we continue with the questions now? Sorry, I misheard you.
We'll continue with rest of the presentation, and we'll take the questions towards the latter part.
Okay, great. So not much of the presentation is left. The most important part, especially nowadays, of course, it is brand safety and anti-fraud systems. So Eskimi is also taking that part very seriously, and we also are fully complied with the integral ad science, media trust, like if you want to use MOA tags, any of those third-party tools could be done, and those tracking tags to evaluate our results is available. So we regarding the anti-fraud, we have in-house systems which are detecting like frauds, bots, like fraudulently clicking on the banners and all of that. So it's already built in the platform. Regarding the brand safety, there are lots of a couple of the layers in order to be sure that your advertisement appears only in a good quality publishers and apps. So of course there is like URL checking opportunity. Well, we already have eliminated all inappropriate content from our general inventory list. So all the adult content, all of that, those kind of poker game, gambling sites and apps are already blacklisted. But of course, if you want to run a poker campaign, you can select only that particular inventory based on your desire. But it's not like a primary setting because there is a very little demand on that. So starting from our primary blacklisting, then you can have on top your own like whitelisting or blacklisting by keywords, by specific sites, by content keywords as well, and lots of the opportunities to make sure that ads have been serving in appropriate and we are appropriate environment, and we are fully complied with the brand guidelines. So in other words, there's lots of the ways how it could be done. If you have particular requirements, always contact our team members, and we will adjust based on your particular requirements, your brand guidelines, and so on. So to make sure that there's no fraud and only brand safe environment is being used. Okay, so we are coming to the nice part about the creatives. You remember, Millie, and also I have mentioned that we have a creative part. So we have a Eskimi ad server. In other words, for all those dynamic content creatives, you don't need to use any additional ad server, which costs extra money and so on. We have all of that built in. So in other words, you remember, one-stop solution for all of that, for your social campaigns, for your programmatic campaigns, so Facebook, YouTube, AdWords, programmatic channels, data, and the creative served through one platform. Okay, so of course we have all the standard static GIFs, JPEGs, native ads, native videos, and all kind of video inventory. We also have animated. I will show you some examples. Interactive ones, the ones which requires some actions from the user, so they're making the users more actively using, not only like seeing the ad, but doing some maybe gamified action, so they will be more included in their advertising, more relevant actions to the brand. And as Mil already explained, data-driven ads is also available when we do the integration with third-party information, like weather forecast, TV schedule, or anything like weather pollution, I don't know, corona rates if that's needed. That's also could be possible. Okay, let's move further. So, depending on what are the KPIs of the campaigns, we always also can suggest which of the creative could be working best for you, because different creative have different KPIs, and depending on what is the main one that you have in your campaign, like you want to have the widest reach, but with low cost. So of course the standard static ads would work best. They also have like a high CTR rate as well as native ads as well. So depending on the goals of your campaigns, always consider to using different type of the creatives. Of course, the more you have, the better campaign optimization and the better results you will have. So with a static, I think everybody is quite aware of. The native ads, in other words, is adapting to the content. It's not so disruptive. It's not like static ones when there's a fixed place and you can easily recognize that this is an advertisement. The native ads is adapting the positioning depending on the design of that page and so on. So it is from the user perspective, it looks more attractive, and like if they see a couple of the like articles, and between those articles there's an ad being placed in, so they may see it as part of the content, not from the first sight they might not recognize it as an ad. So that's why they tend to click more of native advertisement and so on. So yeah, so there's lots of the nowadays digital marketing using a lot of the native ads because of that kind of not too much of the distraction, and always I advise you to consider using this as part of your campaigns creatives. Of course, video ads, all kind of formats, from VAS, in-banner videos, and lots of the other not only YouTube has videos, not only the Facebook has video advertisement places. And I encourage you to always consider programmatic when you run video campaigns, because in that way you can reach not only those users who sometimes comes to Facebook and YouTube, but also reach them through much wider network. So remember those ad exchanges, local publishers, international publishers, and so on. Each time when you think to focusing only one channel, look at your phone, look at your daily routine, how many of websites, apps do you use, and then consider like if you allow the system, the programmatic system to reach you in a much wider channels, it can reach you not only through those top wanted inventory, but in all other channels as well. And regarding the pricing, it always will be better. Okay, so depending on the case that you have, I advise you contact our team members. We're more than happy to share our experience, our suggestions, which could be working best, and so on. Just one of the example, like in banner videos, those are highly recommended to consider to be using when you run in like vast VPaid campaigns, because in banner videos are being served in the banner placements with where it's much more inventory of the such kind of banner placements, and there's less of the video inventory placement. So therefore the pricing there is always higher than the in banner videos and so on. So if you want to continue talking about that part, please join tomorrow's webinar. We're gonna be explaining all the metrics and the differences between each creative, how to choose, how to measure the abilities and all of those kind of things there. Because tomorrow we'll be going deeper into campaign settings, into campaign analytics, optimization, and all of that part with our colleague Sid, who will be joining tomorrow to take care of that part. Okay, so summarizing and quickly going through the nice parts. So data and the creatives. So here you see some of the screenshots. One of them was for Robbie in Bangladesh when they had a cricket championship. So all banners were displaying real-time scoreboards. Actually the same we had in Sri Lanka as well with dialogue. So when there was a FIFA championship, all the banners were also showing real-time game score built in the banner placements. The other example you see here is the weather forecast. The Unilever brand Vaseline used that a lot, and the message automatically in the picture is actually changing depending on what is the conditions outside. So if it's rainy, so there's one message. If there's sunny, there's a different message, like don't forget your sun lotion or something like that. So there's lots of variations depending on what are the needs. Those are like mostly used, but well, we have one of our clients like Coca-Cola who is continuously challenging us with some new, very innovative, rich medias. And I will share the gallery link where you can find more of the examples that we have done. And maybe it will give you some ideas for your campaigns to also to show to your clients if you desire that. One of the rich media, which is pretty much new and it is unique, it is in banner chat box, which is developed by our team, and it allows to serve like imitation of the chatbot conversation in the banner. Of course, you can land the user from the banner to the real chat box on your Messenger or WhatsApp, depending if you have those, or you can have this kind of rich media which asks user to interact with the banner and like asking some basic questions. Are you interested in loan? Okay. What will be the amount that you would be interested in? And so on. And depending maybe on the final answer, the different landing page could be proposed to that particular user and so on. So there's, it's never ending development. And this is one of our newest one. It's very nice and catchy and users tend to use it a lot. Mita, do you have any more questions?
We do have quite a lot of questions. I think Millie and myself answered some questions directly, but there are about 7 open questions. Once we are done with the presentation, we can go through questions.
So there's few slides left just to summarize the creative capability, and then I think we can go through the questions before going live on the platform. Is that okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So just to summarize some of the additional options, because it's always good to suggest something new to the clients. So click to actions is one of those that you can also use through a Eskimi platform. Like click to call when you need to call directly the like client servicing center, something like that, or drive the customer from clicking the banner directly into the SMS with a prepared text, so the user just need to click the button send and that's it. Or USSD, anything of that could be delivered. And one other thing I was also, if we have time, I can show on the platform that as well. Some of the rich medias we already have prepared as a template, so we don't need to do that manually by the illustrators to develop each of those creative. We already have the templates built in the platform, so you can create the ones in few seconds. Okay, so after this webinar, I believe we will share the presentations that we use. So there are lots of the links. So you could go through the deck, click on those links, play with those ads yourself, show to your friends and your customers if that's needed. And also there's a gallery, which also has, as I mentioned, lots of the examples. So please go to that link, business.eskimi.com/ads, and all of those real active rich medias could be found there. And just use that on the desktop, play on your mobile device, and you may find very interactive ones and even some games, which game examples, which could also be used for your campaigns. So yeah, so basically that's my cover about the platform. We can go with the questions now.
Yes, actually, one of the most common questions is, can we get the slides? So,
I believe it's late evening. Not everyone wants to stay till the end.
So I'll get in touch with Millie separately on that. So what we can do is actually we can get maybe a shareable PDF of the deck, and we can share it with all the participants.
Sure, definitely, we'll do. Okay, what other questions do we have?
All right, so I think I've seen that question at least 5 times.
Yes, yeah.
All right, Millie, you want to pick some questions?
Yeah, so I think there were, so I have answered most of the questions. So just for the benefit of some of those people who didn't see the Q&A section, I'll probably answer 1 or 2 questions, and then I will fire the rest at Jivile as well. So a few had asked, what's the difference between Facebook? What's the difference between Google Ads? Are they also programmatic? Are they not programmatic? So the shortest answer is any platform that offers automatic media buying. Basically, rather than you calling up the publisher, instead of doing that, if there is a computer aided platform that is going to do that for you and display your ads, it's considered programmatic, right? The shortest form of programmatic, right? But like I said, programmatic has evolved and there are now many verticals and many key elements. So from an idealistic point of view, you need to have an SSP, a DSP, a DMP. Programmatic should happen based on real-time bidding, right? So all those elements need to be in place. For example, even things like dynamic creative optimization also should be in place if you're talking about a programmatic platform in today's day and age, right? So again, Google and Facebook also have most of these options. It's not that they don't have, just that they would be working on their own DMP. And for example, if it's Facebook, you're only looking at inventory on Facebook and maybe Instagram and any other partner sites. Whereas Google, again, it will be inventory that's just tied up with only the Google Ad Exchange, right? Whereas when we're talking about Eskimi, we have multiple ad exchanges and multiple data points that we collect. So that's the kind of like most summarized difference between running ads on Google or Facebook or Eskimi. So it's not that they aren't programmatic options; they also are programmatic options, right? So just hope
inventory, in other words.
Exactly.
If you want to expand, we with the programmatic networks, which has DSPs and all of those publishers connected, you have the opportunity with to have more data, more reach capability through different channels, cost optimization options, as we already have discussed. Of course, like if you run campaign on Facebook, it's programmatic. They do not serve. They also have a bidding system, how they serve the ads to their customers, and also there's like pricing bidding happening there as well. Same like with Google as well. Just short reminder, we have Google inventory built in. So if you have in mind, should we use GDN, the double click ourselves, you could use Eskimi. You will have all of that, and on top of that, much more features there. More advanced ones.
Okay, great. And Julia, I'll just fire a few questions that that some of the audience have asked.
Sure.
So one of the questions is, can we use the platform ourselves, like Facebook or Google?
Yes, correct. So you have two options. You can use the platform in self-service. So this means that you are set up in the campaigns, you are taking control of all the actions that you do. Or you can use the managed service and use the help of our ad ops team member, our account managers, who helps with the making the plans, suggesting the best practices, because our ad ops team members have launched. You remember those 130 markets that we have been operating our campaigns. So you can imagine how much of the know-how they have and the experience and like tricks and tips they can share. So I definitely encourage you to start with the managed service. It's the same platform, same logins, everything is the same. But with the managed service, I believe we would be more than happy to share our experience, our best practices for you to start using programmatic platforms in a best performing way from the start. You can start with the self-service. It's up to you to decide.
Okay, and something around that also, is there a minimum budget to start off?
Technically, no, but we may, like on the managed service, of course, we may recommend based on the campaign requirements and the goals that you want to reach. We may recommend that, okay, with based on those requirements, we recommend you to have that and that kind of budget. But if you run a self-service, in other words, it's up to you to decide.
Okay. And then there's another question in terms of, can I target different audience segments, which is available on your DMP on YouTube?
Yes, so those API has a certain way how to reach same audiences cross channels. So if you choose the audiences from like our DMP, through that API that we have built, you can reach same users on other networks as well. If the following question comes up about the capping cross-platform, unfortunately, because the YouTube and Facebook is the closed platform and we are not Cambridge Analytica, so we can't control the capping cross-platform because Facebook and YouTube do not give like click audiences back to, or like user information back to our DMP. So it's more like a one-way traffic. We give our audiences to those platforms. So this means that if you decide that you want to run a campaign reaching your selected audience segment through the programmatic channels and then reach the same users on Facebook, YouTube, AdWords campaigns as well, this is doable. Any more questions? Really? Are there more questions?
Yes, that's one of the questions that I wanted to follow up with. So you've already answered that.
Always asking the same question. Sorry for jumping in front.
No worries, no worries. You're ahead of me. And also, there's a question in terms of third-party tracking partners, such as Mode. Do we enable them and support them?
Yeah, sure.
So you might have to explain what a third-party tracking partner is for the benefit of the other users.
So if you want to be sure that the impression that we deliver is true, that the ability or all the KPIs are true, there are third-party partners which can also verify those results. So Moed is one of those. So depending on what you choose, what you trust, and then so on, you can always ask us, use the DCM tags, Moed, or anything like that to verify our results. Because, sometimes I receive even the question how can we trust if your platform shows real results? Well, I would ask how can you be sure if Facebook is showing or Google showing real results, and so on. So therefore we have third-party tracking to verify those results. And they have their in-house systems. You can, they have their own systems, how they measure that, and each system has Moed, Integral Ad Science, and others has different ways how to identify that. So you should go and check out per each. But we have nothing to hide. As I mentioned, we're transparent. So whenever whatever you desire to use to verify the results, we are fully ready to do that.
Yeah, and I think about 2 more questions, and then we can get into the platform demo.
Okay.
One question is with regards to, it's rather a lengthy one. I think Dilanti has asked this. If any company chooses to use programmatic advertising, how frequently should they run this sort of campaign? Can it be one-off while continuing with basic Google or other campaigns during the rest of the year? And what sort of budget I think we've covered. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the topic which is not the one that you can answer with simple words. It's building the strategy. So depending on what is the goal of the campaign, what is the user journey of buying that product and so on, based on that you have to consider all the channels and how frequently it should be used and what is the recommended budget and so on. So what is the goal of the whole campaign? If you're running some campaign promoting, I don't know, some good low price goods, of course the user is making decision quite easily. Maybe the e-commerce can do that right away. But if you're running, I don't know, real estate campaign, for example, the premium villas somewhere out Galliford or somewhere around that, of course it will be very niche, and to make decision of buying such good, it takes a lot of time for the user to get enough of the information, see that cross different channels, and then end up with making the final decision somewhere. So depending on what is the goal of the campaign, what is the product, what is the industry, there are lots of variations how it could be set up. So as I mentioned, we have lots of the knowledge and experience to share. So if you have particular questions, we can always discuss how to build this full strategy for all the communication, not only the programmatic. We may advise how to combine your campaigns even with online surveys, how to use data, how to build upsell, cross-sell strategy through the digital channels. So contact us if you want more advice and discussion on that topic. As I said, not a simple answer.
Yeah, I think you covered the important points there. And the last one is this is regarding a multi-platform strategy and the single view part of it. Is there a difference between running ads directly on Facebook and Google in terms of cost versus running ads on Facebook and Google through Eskimi?
Well, the single view platform gives you additional features which maybe not directly transforms and visible in the pricing. So if we compare the pricing on Facebook campaign directly and running the same campaign, same targeting, same creative directly and through Eskimi, you may see that the Eskimi platform, of course, it has platform fee. So you have to consider that. But you can always start measuring how much does it cost to identify, for example, you want to reach same users cross-platform. So how would you do that manually if you don't know who are you reaching, like on the programmatic network, or how to reach same users manually on different channels? Or how much time does it cost you to set up those campaigns, do the optimization, and so on? So it's not an easy question, not the easy answer, but the single view gives you opportunity to control the campaigns, and when we consider the overall cost, then it becomes more effective. And in other words, if you want to save your daily routine time when your media buying guys are spending hours on jumping between platforms and so on, you can even evaluate their labor costs and include that in the campaigns as well. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, Julie. So I think, yeah, we've covered all the questions and we've answered most, and anyway, I'll go through and answer the rest of the questions as well. So I think we can go on to the platform.
Okay, so, you know, I could be talking for hours, so please stop me anytime. So let me share a different screen with you. And then I will show you the platform in the real time. Please confirm if you see the dashboard. All good?
Yeah, surely we can see the dashboard.
Good. Okay, so here's the direct login. So you may find similar user interface with other platforms. Of course, it must be user-friendly and easy to use. Very easy to navigate. So here in the overview section, so today I will explain the basics, which is useful for agency people who works with the client, for client servicing, what you can demonstrate, go through the main reportings and all of that. For all the deeper knowledge on all the campaign optimization, planning, and all of those settings, as I mentioned, tomorrow we'll have a deep training session when our AdOps team member will take you through all the details of the platform. And as you can see, there's lots of menu items here on the platform. So here we'll explain all of those in the details. Now I'm just explaining, we'll be explaining you from like business, from sales perspective, the most features that could be useful when you talk with the clients, okay? Okay, so here on the overview, all the basic metrics are visible. You can easily log in, give logins if you need to your clients as well, to share the transparency. All the metrics of the campaigns is visible here, so you can track and make decisions if you want to adjust your campaign settings if you desire. So this is a generic window. It has multiple of the campaign views here. And also here, if you run like not only the Eskimi, not only programmatic channels, those exchanges that you already seen, not only through those, but also if you run Facebook campaigns, YouTube AdWords, you will see all metrics will be coming here. And you can easily then track how each of the platform, how each of the channel is performing, and where's like the cost is lower, when there's like a CTR higher, or so on, and then make decisions on that, how to change your campaign settings, and just quickly overview of the campaign results here. Of course, like basic information like operator, platform features is visible here. If you desire to serve your ads during specific hours. You can also target them and see the metrics, or if you want to see like which hours your ads have been served most, you can also track all of that here. Well, I remember I have received some of the questions like why our ads are being served not during the peak hours, for example. So you always should consider that the programmatic is choosing, the programmatic algorithms is choosing when to reach your audience when they are not that expensive to reach. So the optimization capabilities analyzes and still reaches your audiences, but they choose like the cheaper time to reach them. They still reach them, but in a more effective way. Of course, if you desire that you want to run campaign on the rush hours when everybody's showing the ads and they believe that if everybody's showing the ads right now, we'll be effective if we do the same, that's not gonna happen. You just pay twice, three, or even more times for the same ad serving for the same customers. And instead of saving the money and choosing it wisely, by letting the system to do the work, so you can save some of the money and reach much larger audience with the same budget as, for example. Of course, if you have any specific requirements targeting in a specific time, it's up to you to choose depending on your campaign goals, as I mentioned. So all those basic metrics can be visible here in the overview section. Then before creating a campaign, we always upload the creatives. So here on the creative set, I can show you how to create, you remember I told you about those templates and how you can create the rich media right away. So let me show you this type. So here you can see lots of the variations. So in this case, we're gonna choose banner. And then we're gonna do a rich media. You can upload your GST tags here directly and so on, or you can, any kind of variations of the creatives that you can choose. Okay, so here we have some templates like from cube, rotating cubes, countdown, scratch to reveal the message hidden behind, shake your phone and break to see the message which could be hidden beneath the primary screen, dancing, rotating, animated, all of those could be chosen. So let's take, for example, like 3D cube. Let's upload a file. It always gives you requirements of the banner sizes and the types. And well, you prepare those key visuals, upload them. As you can see, I have uploaded a couple of the images. And here below, we can see a real action, active, rich media banner that we have just created. So we just save it and we're gonna have that ready for our campaign. Okay, so then the next step when we are setting the campaign, so it's very nice, the creative part, Sid tomorrow will explain it in more detail, but it's very nice to show even for the clients how easily it could be done, some variations and so on. So if you desire, this is how it could be showing off for your clients. Okay, so the other part when we plan campaigns is the audience. So here, in other words, we call it as a mini DMP. Because when you start collecting those audiences, you remember the ones who maybe visited the website because you placed the pixel there, or you start using geofencing or intent audience from the apps and websites. All of that can be started coming here to your account mini DMP, and it's not being put back into the main audience pool. It's becoming your unique audiences, so you can store it and use that for the future campaigns. Okay, so let's create one of the audience right away. And let's, okay, we can have interest. I think it's pretty much familiar to everyone and similar to other platforms. So we can, by choosing whatever we want, we can directly see how the reach is changing, and it's helpful for planning campaigns and making the media plans. Then if we want to, then you select the audience and you just save, and you have your audience being created. If you want, for example, to use a geolocation, as I have mentioned, this is very interesting targeting method. You can choose the time during which you would be interested to collect the users from some particular location. Also define how much time you think that it would be relevant to you. And then just start writing all that. And you can either pre-select some of the locations yourself, or if you desire, you can, I don't know, start drawing the any kind of shape if you like to start collecting the audience from that particular area. Okay, so you can select as much as you want. Like, you remember that case which I have mentioned to you from the football campaign and Burger King in Indonesia. There was somewhere around 900 locations that we have prepared for that campaign. Of course, it was done not manually each by each. There's an option how to upload all of that. So if any of those cases appear, contact us. We're gonna help you to do that in that case as well. So geofencing, nice to have, nice to play around. Then there's this app site retargeting, which you already have seen. Of course, you can upload your user ID list if you have such. You can use like first-party data, like if you want to retarget users who are coming to your website, particular website page, and then so on. You can use those audiences as well. So let me show you the one that we have here. Let's take the country, for example, Sri Lanka. It's the same like with geofence. We decide which period we are interested in, and we can also validity of the user during that time. And then, okay, let's check what kind of news sites do we have there. Okay. And depending on like what you need, and maybe Daily Hub, CraigBuzz, or any of those are the apps and sites. Of course, you can select, do you want to have only app users, only site users, and so on. But in this example, you see all the in publishers that was used, that is been using Sri Lankans recently. So you see that there are international news sites like BBC News, maybe some locals like Lanka News, and so on. So like lots of them, because the main point is here that your users is using those apps and sites. Okay, you remember when we were talking about, you can assume that some of the websites has some certain of the users going there. So in this case, this gives you an opportunity to, like, you remember, like relevant sites and apps. You can select if you want to target users for some business cases, select on the business sites and start collecting the users only from those. If you something more relevant to the news, you can always start collecting only the Sri Lankans who is visiting the CNN, the BBC, or any of the other like news related website also. And then as you select the duration, your audience has been, you save up and you can start collecting your audience. In other words, it's a little bit of the homework that you have to do, because in order to identify real information, not a historical one, you need to have a certain time for collecting that. So that's why it's more like a homework that you need to consider before launching your campaigns, in order to have sufficient amount of the users identified from those websites or from those locations that you have pre-selected. Okay, so more details will be tomorrow, how to select, how to manage all the audiences. So those were based on my experience working directly with the clients and agencies. Those are nice to show as even for the clients. So let's go further depending on the questions that actually I continuously receive, like what kind of inventory do you have? So here on the menu, we have a traffic discovery where we can easily check what kind of inventory do we see in the market. So lots of filters could be used. And here, like we see that in Sri Lanka, we have a double-click exchange. It has apps with different operation systems, like different platforms, Android. It also have iOS as well. And there's lots of the inventory that could be seen, local websites as well, which is reachable through the double click, for example, and so on. So as you can see, lots of that part could be tracked here. And if you want to export, you can easily do that anytime you connect to the platform. So nothing is hidden, everything is in there. Okay, so let's quickly go through the campaign part. So here on the campaign settings, you can see and track all the campaign metrics, your daily spends, total budgets, and all of that. Just a quick look of the campaign setup. As I mentioned, tomorrow you will go really deep into this because there's like, should be spending like a couple of hours explaining each of those parts, how to select bids, how to select good daily budgets in order to have good campaigns and so on. Just wanted to share with you that if you desire to run like programmatic network campaigns, then Facebook, YouTube, AdWords, you just come in here and okay, select, okay, this time I want to have Eskimi and then YouTube and AdWords, and that's it. And then depending on the campaign requirements, you set up your campaign KPIs, you select your targetings, and well, there's social, economical, class targeting, which is available. So like just choose and use that in the campaigns. There's a bunch of the targeting features, as you remember, regarding tech part and device operator, even the device price range and connectivity type, data consumption, a lot like operator churn users, the ones who is loyal ones and the ones who might be switching, leaving the network, and all of those things that actually was also developed by Eskimi, analyzing the data that you remember that we store, we analyze through the time, and then we display actually in another unique part, which is telco dashboard. And okay, it doesn't matter if you are not telco company or if you don't work, it still have important information for you. So I will show that and explain that to you. So with the telco dashboard, you can track the market information. So like if you have a customer like, I don't know, Dialog, Mobitel, or you're working with other markets, you can also select the market. It's been updated each month because certain data needs to be evaluated through the time, as I mentioned, like migrations. And so in order to say that, yes, this user have migrated from one network to another. So you can track even the changes in the market, between the networks and so on in this dashboard as well. And on the other hand, it literally gives you the opportunity to see the real numbers. It's not just statistic, it is based on our DMP information. So you have your reach here, you have your campaign planning information been built in here. If I don't know, you are Dialog and you want to target Mobitel, for example. So you can literally select that particular audience size and try to win those users, promoting something more relevant only to like your competitor network and so on. In other words, making the promotion more personalized. So here you can also see the multi-SIM users, also top pairing information, like because there's lots of the users, as we can see, close to 3 million in Sri Lanka that we see that has been using multi-SIMs. So this means that they might be using one of the SIM maybe for better data promotions or something. So depending on that, one of the operators losing because the customer is using the other SIM for internet browsing. So in other words, they're losing some data. So they may even plan their campaigns according to that information that they may know about that. So with this telco dashboard, especially for the telco clients, there's lots of the use case and variations, how to analyze that, how to interpret, and how to implement in the campaign. We should be having another training session. Actually, we had a very good webinar, which was held by our CEO, Vitas Pukštis. I will share our YouTube channel. We have a record of that webinar. So if anybody is interested to know in a very detailed way how to plan all of this for the telco industry, I encourage you to look through that webinar and go more details. Just, a quick teaser that the telcos can even calculate how many of the users they lost, how many other networks are winning, and so on, and even convert the data losses into real money and evaluate how much of the return of the investment into marketing can actually be beneficial for them. Okay, so let's go the other part. Other platforms, of course, you already might seen in other platforms that like device targeting as well. We have that, of course, as well, but on top of that, there's some more developments that we have done. So if you are working with a device brand, like with Huawei, Oppo, or any of the others, Samsung, you can always go here and check what is the market share, how the users are split between the networks. And, when you go and see on those chats, there's direct numbers of those users in that network. So it's not just statistic, it's your campaign, the information that could be directly used for your campaign. Because when you set up the campaigns, all those what you can see, you can pre-select there in the campaign setup window, which where we were a couple of minutes before. Okay, so also more detailed information, even up to the model level and so on, like fastest growing model in the market, new devices spotted, device-based comparison, and even the price range comparison as well. As we are crawling down the online shop information and make it available and segmentize all our device database on our DMP. We also put their device prices per each market. And this allows you, like if you want to target not just a brand-based or device module-based targeting. If you're working with a device manufacturer and you have like a flagship device launching and it is a certain price range device, so it is most easiest and most relevant targeting to choose the audience who already have similar price range devices. So they would be they probably will be available to buy same or similar price range devices as well. Okay, so coming to the nicest part, the social economical class. Here we also can see the split in the networks. You remember social economical class describes also like purchase power. So we have it, we are putting in under identifies like under the class A, 2, and so on. So the A1 is like a super premium one, and you can see the real numbers of the unique DMP IDs here, that the dialogue has been used by the super premium class, close to 300,000 users in the last month that been considered belonging to that class, and so on. Okay, So as I mentioned, this could be useful not only when you work with the telcos or mobile device manufacturers, but also if you work with like banking, real estate, or any of those. You can always also check the social economical class part here and see what is happening in the market. Maybe combine your propositions with other like joint promotions, telco and the device, or anything, you know, be creative. Here's the data that you could use, so be creative in using that. And yeah, so when you set up the campaign, it's very easy to see all the campaign coming here. Okay, so we was already here. So the reporting on the campaign results. Here's the report menu part. Lots of the filters, depending on what you need, you have your results displayed. Of course, you can download your results and share with your clients in a unified reporting. So if you will be running like a Facebook campaign, YouTube AdWords, it could be also be displayed in the unified reporting. So it's very easy then to track each campaign metrics and compare, and at the same time share files with your clients, and on a daily basis save your time taking control of those campaigns. Okay, so all the key metrics, as we see, is visible from spends to all the KPIs depending what kind of the campaign there is. Operation systems and deeper knowledge per each, browsers, operators, and analytics through that. Probably the creatives as well. So if you want to check which of the creative performs best, you can always check which one is delivering the best CTRH, which actually has highest impression, and so on. So you can always use that in checking out which of the creative works best for your audience, but always do not limit too much of their creative amount. We always have recommendation of like most used and best performing creative sizes. So whenever you, we can share with you, and it is advised in order to have the optimization system working well enough and delivering good results. Because if you're gonna give literally the system only one type of the creative, then it could be using only those inventories which fits that creative, you know, size, for example. So not much of it limits the optimization opportunities. Okay, and then going to most interesting part, because I continue to receive like, okay, so can we see what inventory was used in our campaigns? We have to give that to the client. So yes, you can see what all the inventory that was used in your campaigns. You can see how each of the inventory is performing. You can export the full list for deeper analytics, whatever you prefer. So depending on the campaign metrics, what was pre-selected, all of that information are being displayed in the dashboards.
Jivile,
finished.
Jivile, just to jump in with a question, and then so I think with regards to the even app sites and names, because a lot of us marketeers, especially in the programmatic domain, this is one of the things that we have to go through, where your client is going to ask you, so I didn't see my ad, where is my ad, right? So when you're running campaigns in the direct method, yes, you can tell them, please go to this website and the ad is there, right? So this section in terms of the inventory will help you actually tell your client that well, if he's not part of the target audience, he's obviously not going to see the ad, but trust in the platform that the ad has been delivered on these particular sites and on these particular apps. So that's one thing that's wanted to kind of add, because that's a lot of you get bombarded with a lot of questions, things like, you know, where is my ad, I haven't seen my ad, kind of questions. And also just jumping into one of the questions that a user had asked is, is it possible to have the male and female stats along with the age stats reported? So just because you want it, I just wanted to bring that up as well, so that you can take them through that. Yeah.
So yes, we can give the stats of the gender and the age gap, but here you actually see the difference, what I could say about the inventory. And I explained you why you see lots of the blue color in those chats, which has been identified as a no. With example, okay, so when you check some websites online, how often do those websites ask you to provide your age and gender? So I will say, I will keep that as a rhetorical question to each of you, but from that point, I want to share that because the publishers are not requesting, like sites do not ask that. This information usually comes about the gender and the age gap, mostly from the apps. So if you limit, especially on your campaigns, oh, I want just to run my ads on the sites, of course, you will have less limitation because the sites are not giving that information. They're not asking that information from the user. So how can they collect the sufficient amount of that information and deliver it to any of the DSP? Not only for us, same with Google and so on. So the platforms like, the closed platforms like Facebook, if you want to start using the platform, you have to provide this information. So in that case, they force the user to provide this info. So not only the Facebook, YouTube does that same. So apps, also some of the apps, not all of them, also requesting the same info. So at the same time, they are passing that information to the exchanges as well. But that's why when you remember when I mentioned that it is an old school targeting. So because the publishing ecosystem is changing, the targeting methods also should be changing as well. So we have a ways how to identify the age gap, the gender, with the different criteria. And like if you running campaign which is mostly targeted for the females, I don't know, maybe something more relevant with the child development, or maybe something with the cooking, instead of just choosing the female as a targeting method, it is more advised to choose by interest, by those app sites retargeting methods, because then you can identify those audience in a more precise way based on the user behavior, not just based on like you decide, like you make assumption that females from some age gap would be most interested, I don't know, for some child meal product or something like that, but you don't know if they have a child, or maybe the child is in a different age gap and so on. So there are different ways how to know this information with the different targeting methods. So as I said, it is possible, but because the publisher's ecosystem is changing and they are not actually asking that information from the users, so they are not passing that information to advertisers as well. So there is a limitation on that. So only the platforms who forces the users to provide that info, like Facebook, like some of the apps, they have this info with more of the info collected on their own site.
So I think, Jivile, you also answered a question as well that was posed by an audience member as well in there.
Okay.
I just for one second, because we have actually gone past like about 25 minutes from the closing time. Shall we try to wrap it up in 5 minutes and wrap it up for the day?
Sure, sure. I'm finished showing the platform. As I said, tomorrow you will get more detailed information and be ready, prepared to ask if any question arise. I would encourage you to go to Eskimi DSP channel on YouTube. There are webinars, there also are case studies and also telco dashboard video and all of those, sorry, those which could be good to see before tomorrow's conversation. And well, I want to, of course, encourage the ones who would be interested. We have a certification part. We have, of course, reading material and the exam that you can take and earn your first level programmatic certificate. So today, after the webinar, we're gonna share this part. So whoever is interested, we encourage you to go through it and earn your first certificate. And tomorrow, after going deeper into more advanced part, you're gonna have a second information for earning advanced level certificate. So yeah, so from our perspective, basically everything is done. Just contact us if you have any questions regarding the programmatic.
All right. Thank you very much, Shivile and Melinda, for connecting with us today for the fundamentals of programmatic advertising and going deeper into the Eskimi platform and showing our participants today about how the platform works and how best they can actually use to deliver a data-driven advertising campaign. So tomorrow we are going to go deep dive into the platform, and tomorrow we are going to go into the advanced level of programmatic advertising with our next resource person from Eskimi, Siddharth. So we will be connecting to tomorrow, same time at 7 in the evening, and we'll take like full 2 hours of learning to get into the deeper end of programmatic advertising. So on behalf of Asia Pacific Institute of Digital Marketing, thank you very much for joining in for today. So don't forget to connect us tomorrow. You will get a reminder. You will get a reminder 1 hour before the webinar, and just click on that link to join the webinar tomorrow. All right. So good night, everyone. And thanks once again for connecting.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks for all the questions also. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.